Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ray from Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Thanks for joining us for another week looking at Week 13 college football. We're also going to take a look back at Week 12, give you the recap on some of those games like Oregon versus Wisconsin, BYU lost to Kansas, and obviously we're going to talk about Tennessee's loss to the Bulldogs. So we'll be talking about those as well as your Week 13 games. You got number 9 Ole Miss playing Florida. We got number 5 Indiana playing number 2 Ohio State. Get to see who the poser is in that matchup there. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about some other games as well. Army versus Notre Dame, BYU, Arizona, Texas A&M, and Auburn in Kentucky, Texas. That's right. So we got to talk about Auburn once in a while, right? I mean, we got a fan on the staff here.
Florida wins one game, and all of a sudden you got to start talking about them again. So I guess you got to talk about Auburn.
I'm bringing up some potential upsets here, okay? And I have high hopes for my boys down in Gainesville, but. That being said, we're not going to talk
Alabama.
And South Alabama, exactly. So, anyway, so that being said, if you like the show, go ahead and subscribe to the show. You can also give us a 5-star rating and review. Make some comments on the YouTube as well, because we are on YouTube now. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the whole 9 yards. Just type in Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. You'll find us. You also got us a Facebook group, Guys at the Bar Talking Sports there, www.guysatthebartalkingsports.com. And if you like to support podcasts, you can do that. All you got to do is use our Venmo, and that is at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. So if you don't know what podcast this is by now, then, you probably should just stop listening now. But don't. Share the show with your friends, and then you can stop listening. All right? Anyway.
Pizza.
And then you can buy some pizza, yeah. Because we like to buy pizza, we like to buy alcohol, we like to buy better equipment for the show, and Venmoing us some loot will help us with those things. So let's get some quick introductions going here, shall we? We have Cheeks hanging out with us, drinking some beer. Thank you for coming, Cheeks.
Thank you for having me. I'm so sorry I missed last week.
That's fine. We had listeners calling in saying, hey, where is Cheeks at?
Ugh.
I know.
I'm back.
They were very disappointed.
I'll never leave you again.
Thank you for coming back, Cheeks. We also have my boy Chopper over there.
What is going on?
You're drinking some blueberry ale tonight, I see.
Yeah, an island state of mind.
Yes.
Is what I'm in right now. It's a rainy, dreary day out here in South Carolina, and I'm just thinking about Islamorada.
I know, it's a nice place, man.
How nice
and
it is.
When your football
How cold
team
the beer is.
When your football team is having such a dismal year,
What?
You got to find yourself in a better state. In Islamorada.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about.
Moving over to my man, we got Barney the Rebel himself.
That's 2 strikes.
All right, the Rebel. I think you're drinking some of that blueberry beer too.
Yeah, because I've already finished my first one.
Yes.
So it's tasty. It's tasty.
Are you really?
And we got the West Virginian himself wearing his Masters t-shirt. How you doing?
Good.
Mountain Mama.
Mama Jama.
Mama
Jama Mama.
I was waiting for him to get all of them out.
Jamma Jamma Bama. All right, so let's hop into last week's games, shall we? Because there's one game that really was uninspiring, if you ask me. A team that probably should have put up, 45 points, because that's typically what they do. And they put up 16 points against Wisconsin, barely winning. Actually, they only scored 6 points in the first 3 quarters. They were able to put up 10 points. And I was just like, what's going on with Oregon? What's happening with those guys? Are they ready to play Ohio State or even Indiana, or even Penn State for that matter, in the Big Ten championship if that happens?
Sometimes when you get hot like that and you have a target on your back, teams come out to play even harder against you.
So you think that's what Wisconsin did?
Yeah, they play a little harder against you. So, and they're, Oregon's going to be fine. You're not going to do that every week, come out and just dominate offensively.
And Chopper is a closet Oregon fan, by the way.
Bo Nix fan.
Bo Nix fan.
Yeah, who had an incredible
He's actually
weekend, by
playing
the way.
well in the pros,
He
better
did.
than I anticipated.
He did. Incredible.
Give me your thoughts on this, Rebel.
All right, here's the best thing happened to Oregon. Best thing happened to them. Because how many teams you see go through the season pretty unscathed, haven't been in a close dogfight where they have to just scratch and claw, and they get in the playoffs or they get in a bowl game, and that's what happens, and they get beat. Best thing could have happened to them. Number two is point with this is, and this is kind of a question for the table. When's the last time you saw a team go wire to wire, win it all, and just blow everybody out unscathed? Never have a close game. It doesn't happen. Every year, somebody scares the big dog in the room, and they end up going on and winning the national championship. Every national champion, for as long as I can remember, has always had that one game during the year where you're watching going, is this going to be it? Is this going to be it?
Right?
Yeah, I think this was that game for them. They went. I think they were playing at Madison, which is not an easy place to go in and play. And they went in, they go, okay, they got punched in the mouth, and they had to, if anything, if there was any doubt left about Oregon, last weekend took it away. The fact that they went in and got in a dogfight and pulled it out and won it. So that
eliminates doubt in your mind that, hey, yeah, they are.
They erase any doubt that they can blow you out, but if they have to get into a slugfest, they can still do it. That used to be Oregon's thing. If they couldn't outscore you, they lost. And they proved in that game they can go toe-to-toe with you and get in the mud and, hey, pull one out ugly. And, again, I think that was the best thing that could have happened to the Ducks.
You got some thoughts on that there, Mountain Man?
The Big
You always have the best insights, so I always go to you
The
for
Big
the
Ten
insights.
has been taking a lot of shit because apparently there's nobody good in the Big Ten, right? So Indiana has beat nobody, and if they lose by double digits on Saturday, they're out. But yet when Oregon struggles, Oregon's the best team, and I agree with everything Rebels said. However, if we're going to talk about, and I know we're getting to that probably later.
What about me?
I mean, we're going to get into this whole thing about strength of schedule and bullshit. It's not fair to pick on one team and then let Oregon get away with these squeaking. I mean, they have done this all fucking year. They should have lost to Boise State.
They should have.
I think there's a couple more in there they fucked around with. They should have lost.
Idaho early?
Yes,
Idaho
Idaho.
and Boise State, and now they barely beat Wisconsin.
And again,
maybe they're not the team that we think they.
No, they're the best team in that conference.
They're the best team in that
but they're still not going to go.
Are they though? They beat Ohio State barely.
They're the best team in the conference.
Could Penn State go in there on any given Saturday and win?
No.
Can Indiana go in there and win?
Indiana's 7 of their wins have been against the bottom 7 teams.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
No, they can't.
Okay.
No. I mean, the Big Ten is a 2-horse conference, and it's Oregon and Ohio State. They're going to play again.
That's not true. I mean, Penn State's a good team.
Is James Franklin still their coach?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Then they're not.
Name one quality win on that Penn State schedule.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anyway, Oregon.
West Virginia.
That was not a quality win. That was not a quality. Thank you. That was not a quality.
Baylor put him to rest.
Yeah,
Your scenario went away this weekend, unfortunately.
Cheeks, what are your thoughts on that game? I see you got some notes for us.
Yeah, well, I think there is quality on the team. I think that sometimes they don't all mesh. Sometimes people stand out, and sometimes there's heroes in the bunch. And yeah, his head goes down. Ukulele caught that last one, intercepted the ball with less than a minute and a half to go, and that saved them.
Yeah.
It's DJ's little brother, right?
DJ Ukulele.
That's his little brother.
Yeah.
It's Ungogole or something.
It's
like
alphabet.
that. Alphabet.
Yeah, I
However,
can't
we're going to
pronounce
say
it.
this. We don't practice before the show like they do on every other sports podcast on how to say this dude's name. All right. Like they actually have it written on the wall somewhere. We don't do that. Okay, we're the real deal around here at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, and we talk about a lot of SEC football because we're in the South. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to that South Carolina versus Mizzou game. Let me ask you all this, because I'm, like I said earlier, I like Carolina. They're the local team, but I'm like I'm a fan, but not like a diehard fan, right? Like I root against them when they play Florida, but I like to see them win. But the fans of Carolina, man, they are so thrilled right now.
Oh yeah, they should.
They are just euphoric.
They should be.
And they're like, this team is one of the best that we've ever had. Sellars is going to be the best quarterback that's ever played at Carolina. Like, there's a lot of euphoria going on among the fans of this fan base. But they beat Mizzou, guys. They beat Mizzou 34-30. It was a fun game to watch. It was exhilarating. I was there. I had a blast. I mean, that fan base, it was electric. And but do the Carolina fans need to calm down, Cheeks? Do they need to come back down to earth for a minute?
No, but that's the history of Carolina.
This is how you tell your transplant.
Everybody builds them up just to be let down.
No, not even that. It's not even. It's not even
I don't
that.
even think
I
they're
mean,
going to be
if you ask Liz every other week, she's
No, that's not true. South Carolina,
true.
no.
With
South-
Liz?
no,
Sure.
No, she's realistic. It's not building up, let them down. She basically, she knows what to expect. She knows what to expect.
She's our number one fan.
Basically, is South Carolina fans traditional? If they get 6 wins and make a bowl game, they consider it a win. They're realistic in their fandom. When they get above that, they get really excited about it. But you don't hear them talking about, oh, we're going to win national championships. Like that nasty color orange in the upstate. You won a few. They think they're supposed to win it every year. They're like Dallas Cowboys now. Okay, so we got to win it every year. And their fan base, they win 10 games and they don't win a bowl game, and they're ready to fire a head coach, right? So South Carolina fans are very realistic fans. They'll admit when they're crap, but they love it when they have those moments of being good.
And the reason why they don't talk about national championships is because they've never gotten to win an SEC championship, right? That's step one, right?
Sure.
So you get there and win a few of those, and you start talking about.
Yeah, it probably
national
changes
championships,
their
right?
expectations,
Yeah.
but right now, anything above 6 wins, they are thrilled and they're happy about it, and they start over next year.
Yeah.
I actually
And
love
they're a good
it.
team.
Yeah.
They're a good team.
I love it because Florida fans, I'm not like this. I mean, I'm always overly optimistic about my team. Y'all know that. But if they were like 9 wins, I'm like, oh, we're going to the national championship. Like that's where I start at. But Carolina fans, there's a lot of humility going on there. But then again, there's a lot of euphoria right now. Yeah. But Carolina beat Mizzou. It was a ranked team. I heard people saying, oh, we're going to be in the top 12 at the end of the season. Now, that can happen if everything goes right for them. They could make it with 3 wins.
The probabilities are not really there, though.
The probabilities are not really there. But this game was fun, man. This was your first Carolina game or your second Carolina game, Mountain Man?
You went into it?
Yeah, I was there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts on that game, then?
I'm happy for the South Carolina fan base. I mean, I've said this week after week. They have a lot in common with us in West Virginia. There's a lot in common. And what they're feeling right now, we felt last year, like, holy cow, we're better than we're supposed to be. And I mean, I don't think there was a lot of people that thought they were going to be any good this year, right? That was the vibe I got back in August. Like, we might get 4 wins and yada, yada, yada. And
I think that was their projection.
yeah, but they're on the verge. I mean, even playoff aside, the playoffs, I don't want to talk about the playoffs right now. I'm so pissed off about that shit. But playoffs aside, they could win 10 games. They could win the bowl game, win 10 games. That is a fantastic year, and the fans should celebrate. They should burn couches like we do up in Morgantown. They should have a good time. I don't think they should settle down. I think, that, like both Cheeks and Rebels said, they're living in the moment. This is their moment. This is their time to have fun because you don't know what's going to happen next year. So enjoy it.
Well, I don't think they're going to burn couches because in Carolina, like in West Virginia, people have couches in their front yard, so they just burn them.
They're all like,
always ready.
They're all like, finally, we're West Virginia level, right? finally.
Yeah, that's exactly.
To me, this is the only pressure South Carolina has, and I've mentioned this. Where they have failed in the past when they did have success is they didn't get the bounce. They didn't get the recruiting bounce. They didn't get the players to come in and say, hey, look at what we were able to do. We're losing this key piece. You could fill that void, and we could keep the train moving down tracks. So that's their biggest thing is regardless of how this shakes out is use what you were able to do this year. Mainly Shane Beamer go out and say, hey, we were able to pull off what nobody thought we could do and get a consistent year after year series of winning the way Spurrier did. I mean, Spurrier had the biggest winning percentage we had here. I think he was the first one to ever put 5 winning seasons together. So that's what they've got to get out of the season, regardless of where it falls. I mean, the playoffs, that's a pipe dream. They could still do it. It'd take a lot of help. But, hey, win out, beat your rival in 2 weeks, go win a bowl game, win 10 wins, and then try to go recruit your tail off.
What a great season.
I mean,
great
fantastic.
season.
They were bad refereeing away from beating LSU.
They're 2 plays away from being in that conversation.
I mean, they had Alabama. Alabama gave them the chance to win it 3 times. They almost did it. They missed a 50-yard field goal.
Yeah, how close is LSU to 6 losses? On the flip side of that, very close to 6 losses.
I mean, and also, take the Old Dominion game out. That was the first game of the season. You're going to have some rough. First games where the upsets are at. They've had 1 bad game, and really that bad game with Ole Miss was 3 bad scenarios in a row to start that game out. Yeah. Other than that, they've been a good team this year.
Well, they're so good that a certain unnamed SEC coach called up Beamer last week after the game and told him that he had Superman in the making, and he was talking about Sellars. So
yeah, I mean to build around Sellars, in that recruiting class to say, listen, we have a great quarterback dynamic. He's gonna be a star going forward. We're gonna keep him here. You come play with us. You're gonna get immediate play time. I think that they are all on the right track, and to get 10 wins this season, if they happen to do that, that would be huge. To have a 11 win season, or 11 and 12 wins next season, who knows, man? It's always on the upward trajectory. along with another team who's on the upward trajectory now.
Here we go.
We got the Florida Gators beating LSU last week, baby. That's right. Huge upset. I don't know if it's a huge upset, actually. All the talking heads are like, huge upset. No one expected them to beat LSU. That's true. But then again, LSU is...
They were hyped up a little bit more than they should have been.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
But that was a good game, though.
You should be happy about it. I mean, I think there's something happening down there with Napier in Florida. Things are coming together at the right time. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's an upset.
I listened to this guy talk the other day. He basically said, "Is what you saw there was this a coaching staff that now could breathe, knowing that they had a job next year and could play loose, take some risk, and be what they want to be, and not worry about every play like their job depended on it." I said, was that part of that? Was it the smartest thing? They said Florida may look back one day. It may be the worst thing they ever did for keeping Napier another year. It may look back and say it's the best decision they ever said, hey, you got another year. Don't worry about it. Go play your tail off, to allow him to relax and do what everybody thought he could do when he started down there. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Lively's a player.
Yes.
Oh,
He is
he's
a
insane.
difference.
Yeah. He's a difference maker for sure.
Absolutely.
There's always that threat that this dude is going to, 265 pounds running at you.
Yeah.
There's always that chance that that's going to happen.
The thought of that just makes my chest hurt.
Exactly, yeah.
Did you lose your voice on Saturday?
I did not. I don't lose my voice when I go to games like that. I scream like crazy, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that you heard me over in your stands over there. That's why you were able to see me where you were at.
Well,
But,
I was making a joke because there was like 5,000 people sitting there. I'm sure you were one of them, so I did see you. Right?
Oh yeah, light.
I don't know which one you were.
Light went into your eye that I was.
We were the guys
exactly.
in the maroon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, BYU lost to Kansas. I want to talk about this because Kansas was 3 and 6 going into that game. Yeah. Definitely a game that BYU should not have lost. But then again, Kansas was a relatively healthy team going into that game, but they had not been most of the season because they had much higher expectations going into the season than they haven't lived up to those expectations. Let's just say that.
Correct.
So now Kansas is where they need to be. They go in there and they beat BYU. BYU struggled, man. They only scored 13 points, and usually this is a team that's putting up 35, 40 points most games.
They've struggled the last 2 weeks. They should have lost Utah.
Yep.
And they scored 13 at home.
Yeah.
Against Kansas. I think. I haven't watched a whole lot of BYU, but it does feel like that they're running out of steam.
Yeah, I made it a point to watch that game just to see if they'd be able to beat Colorado. And at this point, you're looking at Colorado versus BYU in the Big 12 championship.
Well, so I think it's a 3-horse race. Arizona State has joined the party.
Yeah,
they can win out and go.
So to your point about with Kansas, though, I mean, they've been playing much better. I mean, if you think about it, they just beat Iowa State, who's ranked. They couldn't turn around and beat BYU, who's ranked. I mean, you could argue they're one of the hottest teams in college football right now.
But they handedly beat Iowa. It wasn't a close game
45-36.
like this game. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things I can tell you right now, Colorado has to go to Lawrence.
Well,
I think that game may be closer than people are going to give it credit.
So it's not in Lawrence. It's at the Chiefs.
That's right. It's still Kansas City. That's right.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that game later, but we could just jump into it right now if y'all want, because that's going to be one of those ones with Colorado playing Kansas. Like, Kansas is hot right now, and they can go in. Yeah, and Colorado's hot right now. Yeah, that's an offense that's hard to stop. I feel like Colorado's figured out a little bit on defense as well, where they're able to they're able to basically get that offense off the field and put their offense back into the game, So Colorado is going to be fighting Kansas, man. I don't know.
Deion was just interviewed today. He did a press conference, and they asked him about leaving, and he said he's going nowhere. You heard it here.
Yeah, but
you're
you're in the middle of November. He won't say anything right now. No. As soon as Florida State announces that they're firing their coach or whichever program. I mean, LSU, one of the questions I had was, is Brian Kelly's life on the line right now? Should he start packing his bags? If LSU came calling to Deion, would he take that?
I think there's one team going to come calling Deion. That's Florida State.
Florida State. Who?
That's the Pukes down in Dallas.
SMU?
The Dallas Cowboys are going to be the only team that come calling Deion Sanders.
Pro football from Colorado? I don't see that happening.
Nope.
There's no way, man. This is going to be Deion Sanders going to another youth. Okay.
I will say.
You heard it here first, folks, on Guys at the Bar Talking Sports.
I don't see. I don't know. Deion's a lot to handle. You're getting a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't see schools like LSU. And
giving him the control.
I just don't see that.
But
Colorado, you get away with that shit in Colorado.
Florida State might, because this is not a hometown boy, but he played there.
He's an alum, and the attitude with Florida turning it around, and Miami's got their swagger back. You talk to Miami. Dion's the perfect fit for them.
To get that swagger back in
Florida
Tallahassee.
swagger. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
And I mean, Dion, he seemed to figure it out. I mean, I don't know. We're not behind closed doors. He might have great coaches on the staff. He knows how to manage the kids. I don't know. I mean, but he's doing a good job out there. I mean, you got to give it. We shit on him last year when he was hyping up the sorry team, but this year I know the Big 12
He earned that last year.
Yeah, the Big 12 is not, it's not that great this year, but they're still winning the games, and I don't know, got to give him credit.
Yeah. Tennessee lost to University of Georgia, the Bulldogs. Tennessee was pretty much they laid down the second half.
Yeah.
No points
They
whatsoever.
made Carson Beck look like Tom Brady.
Yeah, Carson Beck had 0 interceptions, and this is a guy that's averaging 3 a game.
What you saw, they could not do that Ole Miss somehow was able to do. Carson Beck has proven if you can put pressure on him, he will make mistakes. He will throw the ball up for grabs. He stood back in that pocket like a statue all night in the second half. No pressure.
So what was different about that UGA line then?
I don't know.
Adjustments.
I think they made adjustments. I think Tennessee stopped blitzing because when they did blitz, he was able to pick it apart.
Mm-hmm.
And Tennessee's got to. I mean, they've got a better defense than usual, but a lot of that's predicated on their linebackers getting in the backfield, and they were not even getting close to him. So is that one of those things of Kirby Smart learned what their mistakes were against Ole Miss and sorted it out? I think a lot of that was the case. Mm-hmm.
Now, if everything plays out the way it should, and I'm not saying it's going to throughout the remainder of the season, will that game end up being the elimination game for Tennessee?
It's hard to tell.
I heard basically with the tiebreakers, the way they shake out because they've only got 2 losses.
Yeah, Alabama goes over them.
No.
Yep.
No. Where it gets funky is if Texas A&M beats Texas.
No, I'm saying if everything goes the way.
So if A&M beats Texas, I think Tennessee actually gets back into that conversation.
Well, Texas will be favored in that, right? But if A&M happens to beat them, then Tennessee gets back in. But if Texas beats Texas A&M and everything, Alabama beats Auburn and everything happens the way it's supposed to happen on paper, right? That is probably an elimination game for Tennessee.
It could be.
Georgia.
They seem to be the odd man
It
out.
could be because
They'll get in.
And Georgia does not have any more SEC play left, I don't think. But they do have to play Georgia Tech. So that could put if Georgia Tech pulls out some miracle and beats Georgia last game of the season, they'll be 8 and what would that be? 9-3. 8. Yeah, 9-3, right?
Even though they beat Alabama,
Uh-huh.
the 2 losses that they have head to head are. I think that's what
somehow Alabama is the leader in the clubhouse with the tiebreakers of all the teams.
Alabama
Somehow
those are the games that you lost.
Yeah.
In the head.
One thing I think
It's a
too is
leader.
honestly, if you want to watch how they're playing, I don't mind Tennessee. I have nothing against them. Yeah. Of all those 2 lost teams, they're probably playing the worst football out of all of them.
The last several weeks,
everybody else is still kind of on the up and up. Tennessee is taking some steps back in the last 4 to 5 weeks.
Alabama's getting good again.
Yeah, Alabama's starting to sort it out. I still ain't sold. I don't think their coach can get them through. Honestly, I still think it's going to end up being Texas, Georgia. That's how I think it's going to end up shaking out.
Yeah, I mean, if it shakes out that way, the SEC championship, obviously Georgia. One of these 2 lost teams needs to get in there and win that SEC championship just to get rid of that speculation that's going on right now. Because you could have, and this is one of the questions we're going to be talking about later on, 6 2-loss teams in the SEC, which would be insane to see that happen.
Well, I think they get 3 teams in regardless. They might get squeak 4.
Yeah.
I think they're getting 4. I think they're getting 4.
I think they get 4.
All right, so last point I want to make about Georgia. Georgia is playing good football right now. They definitely going in. Nobody wants to play these guys, right?
Right now they're playing good football this last game, but the game
That's
before
true.
that, Ole Miss kicked them pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
To me, Carson. I think they spent a lot of time making sure Carson Beck didn't make mistakes, and it shows. And that's when you have a good coaching staff.
Well,
Yeah.
protecting them. He got sacked 5 times the week before.
Yeah, so
and then no time.
They spent a lot of time coming up with plans to keep him off his back and quick release, and it worked. Can they do that against somebody that can get better pressure than what Tennessee got? We'll see. So so I guess it's only what have you done for me lately? They look good. But I don't know. I'm still not sold with Carson Beck under center that this team's going to win national.
No, there's no way. That's true.
Not happening.
So you want to hear something interesting? LSU, Florida had 11 sacks against LSU. 11 sacks. That's ridiculous, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean that is a line that was just like
Nussmeier's. He's ate a lot of grass this year.
yeah.
He has been on his back a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, more than most sorority girls for sure.
Go.
You know, so
Easy.
Yeah, Ray.
Oh crap!
Easy.
People
All
in this
right,
room with
more than most aspiring sorority girls that didn't make it into the sorority. There we go.
You're not making it any better, buddy.
Okay.
Put that disclaimer at the beginning.
everyone but USA.
That your opinions does not reflect the rest of our opinions.
Yeah. All right, I'll put that right in the beginning and at the end just in case I didn't hear the beginning. All right, New Mexico beats Washington State. The only reason why I even bring this up is it just gets rid of that stupid speculation that can Washington State, if they only have one loss, get into the top 12. Now we know it's not. Pac-2 is done.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about them anymore. So we'll talk about the questions of the week then, shall we? Because I don't even think anyone that we have that listens to the show, all 15 of our listeners, none of them are New Mexico fans. And
Doubtful.
I think we have one Washington State fan in the Facebook group.
Hey,
I've heard them.
there's always that one at the game day. It's waving that big flag for the
That's
last-
true.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
there is
always
a
one.
Cougar flag. That's true.
Can we get that person a T-shirt?
Go
Yeah,
Ryan
I know,
Leaf.
right? Yeah. All right, questions of the week, man. We were talking about, we started to allude to this, so we'll go ahead and get into it now. What if we end up with 6 two-loss teams in the SEC at the end of the season? How does that affect the SEC championship game loser? Do they, if they end up with 3 losses, end up not getting in to the top 12 because they have 3 losses, but there's 5 two-loss teams in the SEC?
Yes, the loser of the SEC team could get left out.
You think that think the loser of the SEC championship would get left out
Yep.
because they got penalized
No.
by playing in the SEC championship game?
They
I
can't
think they
do
would.
it.
They won't do it.
They won't do it.
I think they will.
They won't. It's again for the very reasons you said.
I bet you could bet on this. I bet
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
a
God.
bet you can make on this in Vegas right now if the SEC.
And I'll tell you why.
I
loses
can
that.
use Rooster right now.
If you
Yeah.
if you just look at the record, you'd
Uh-huh.
say with the other teams and the possible 3 Big Ten teams with 1 loss apiece. And all
If
that
it's Texas A&M,
well, I just think that the polls. Now remember, they're also going to vote. They're also going to put it this stupid 1 through 12, 1 through 25 ranking, and then they're going to make the. They're going to. I think they would vote it to ensure that 3-loss team did no worse than a 12th.
could Texas and Texas A&M play each other twice? Right? They could.
They could.
Technically,
If
they
Texas
could,
A&M
Yeah, and what if somebody
loses the SEC championship? I think they're left out.
Texas A&M is one that
Not when you get argued. They got beat twice by the possible number 1 seed in the
Yeah,
tournament.
if you lose
They
twice
do
the
not-
same team, you
No.
cannot get knocked out.
They-
That's-
Okay, what they could do though, because they're doing these votes every week, right? So they could make, let's say they make Texas A&M number 12, and Texas was number 3, right? And then if Texas A&M wins, then obviously they'd move up in the ranking. But if they lost, they would move down in the ranking, and they're basing it on the rankings. It's not based upon who you are.
In that scenario,
Yeah.
they might get left out
Yeah.
because they would lose back-to-back weeks to the same team, and they were already at the tail end of it. But I just think
It's such a huge penalty.
I think it's unfair.
Why would you even play? Why wouldn't you say, if I'm Texas A&M at rank number 12 and I'm going to the SEC championship, say, you know what, we're gonna sit out the SEC
You
championship.
can't. I'm sure you can't do that.
I don't think you can. Yeah, but
No,
but it would make you want to.
They've already been talking about how factoring in if you play in your conference championship game, you get a level of credit to go to in consideration for your ranking for that very reason. Is it's not like when they had divisions to where something like the one year Minnesota played for the conference championship and had 4 losses, 5 losses. You're not having that scenario
Wisconsin.
anymore.
What
Yeah.
if their 2 losses are against the 2 teams that are left out? End up getting
Well,
left out.
that's what I'm
That makes
saying.
it-
They're going to probably they're going to end up having to tweak this.
Right.
I think that's why you're going to see 12 grow to 16 very fast.
Yeah.
That's why 1AA always did 16 to try to hedge some of this stuff out. I still think if you lose in the there's other conferences. The ACC loser, I don't think they get in.
No.
But
Big 12
when you're
loser.
talking about the SEC and the quality that's there, and especially since you could potentially get 4 teams in, you're not going to lose your SEC championship game and then slide 3 other teams in behind you. They won't do it. They won't do it.
I think it just
you'll
depends on
have
who
a
that team is.
the reason that they won't do it. It ain't because the record should show that they should. It's from the standpoint of you delegitimize your conference championship game if you do that, and you will have a mutiny among some of these conferences. Going, screw it, we're not going to play that anymore because you got cost us a team to get in.
And this is a 2-year experiment right now on the
Yeah.
12-team playoff,
That's right.
which means that in 2027 they're going to start something new or keep it the same. You don't know what they're going to do. But if the SEC and the Big Ten come out there and they're like, you know what, screw you, you guys are knocking out teams because we're playing a freaking a championship game. There's no way that they would sign on to it.
And that's what I was talking about last week. There was a guy that put up an interesting scenario to where basically you have a mini tournament within each conference, and you play that down, and that champion goes to the national championship tournament. To where in this case, you would pick your top 4 SEC schools. They would end up playing it out. Okay, that's your champion and go, and then you do that around.
I'd like to see the SEC plays 8 conference games.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them play 9.
Just
Every conference has to play 9. Get rid of that buffoon game you played. At the beginning
does the
of the
Big 12 play 9?
season. The Big 12 does play 9.
They do. Okay.
But the Big 12 always, since West Virginia joined, we did the round robin thing. Everybody played everybody.
Yeah.
You remember? And then they came up with the conference championship, which was kind of a stupid thing to do because it was always a rematch. But yeah, I would like to see all the conferences do the 9. I think, and I know. They say, "Oh, it's already a gauntlet." Well, you're in the SEC, and you want to talk about how damn great you are. Play your gauntlet,
play
win your
another
game.
game.
Yeah.
There's always there's always the Mississippi States and the
I don't want to get
Which can beat
Kentucky
anybody
and I was
in
saying
the
this-
day too.
Well, they can, yeah.
All those teams can.
I was saying this earlier. Everybody's shitting on the Big Ten. Oh, they're all down. Well, I mean, what about the other half of the SEC? The SEC is not great 1 to 16. They're not. They're better
1 to
they're-
10. 1 to 10.
Yeah, 1 to 10.
11.
Yes. But I mean, it's again, SEC is the best conference. But at the end of the day, you're asked to win your games. You have to win your games.
Yeah.
In the story. But no, I'm with these guys. The conference champion should not get penalized. If they do, I mean, we're gonna.
They shouldn't, but there could be a situation where they do.
You said
Let's-
earlier that
let-
it depends on the team.
Yeah, I think it depends on the team because Texas A&M, you can make a case that they're playing good ball, but they lost, and they were
They lost by
12
20 to South Carolina. Not putting South Carolina down.
Yeah.
But you lost by 20 to a team that's ranked 7th or 8th in the SEC right
Yeah.
now. I mean, that's got to play
I
into
mean,
it.
if they beat Texas the first time on like a fluke or something, and then Texas destroys them in the SEC championship,
How many?
then
I
it's
mean,
like,
Texas A&M has 2 conference losses or just 1.
they would have
They have
2
two
of
right
Texas
now.
A&M beat.
They
No,
lost-
sorry, they have one.
but if
South
Texas
Carolina's the
A&M
only one.
Yeah. If they lose to Texas, then that's 2.
So Texas A&M has 1 more conference.
No. I'm sorry. They have 2 conference losses. If Texas loses to Texas A&M, then they both have 2. That's right.
A&M still got to play the War
Yeah.
Eagles.
Hold on. Who did A&M? I know they lost Notre Dame at the beginning of the season.
I thought they only lost
South Carolina.
They've only lost 1 SEC game.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh,
A&M
okay.
won, yeah.
Okay.
And Texas has lost 1.
1.
SEC.
Georgia.
Well, they almost are. Those 2 are almost
They're going to play an elimination
guaranteed to have a champ. They're gonna not only that, they might end up being the 2 teams in the SEC championship
that's-
just because of that. Yeah,
that's what he's talking about.
What are the Big Ten? So they might have
Who gives a shit? Sorry.
they might have 4 one-loss teams at the end of the season with Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon.
All 4 of them
Correct.
get in.
All
4 of them get
I
in.
know there's this talk about Indiana. I know there's this talk about Indiana.
Indiana has like
if they're going to beat by 40, they should get in.
They're the 105th strength of schedule, but still they're winning games. And that they let Cincinnati in for winning games. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago?
I mean, TCU did the same thing.
Exactly,
Played
yeah.
national
For
championship.
winning
Yeah.
games. So if you're winning games in Indiana, if they lose 1 game to Ohio State this coming week, then should they still be in?
That would be telling.
It'll be 3 teams so far with 1 loss plus Oregon, and they might lose a game. So let's say they have 1 loss.
I posted this on Facebook on the page the other day. In America, the way we do playoffs for all of our sports, sometimes all the best teams don't make it. I mean, in the NBA, I don't really follow the NBA, but my understanding is the Western Conference is stacked. So if they did the NBA playoffs, it'd be almost all the damn thing would be the Western Conference. In the NFL, the last few years, the AFC
Don't even.
The AFC
I saw
would be,
you post that.
The AFC would be the majority of the teams. We
Don't
don't
even.
do it that way. We do it based on what your conferences, your divisions, and how it wins out.
To give it to prove his point, for 1 year the Patriots were 11-5 and missed the playoffs, and the Seahawks got in at 8-8.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
Washington got in at 7-10. They won the East and got in at 7-10 and almost beat the Bucs.
Shouldn't have.
But they did, and there was other teams that had winning records that did not make it. My point is Indiana, whether they get blown out or not, they have done what they were asked to do. They're better than they were expected to be with a brand new coach, 30 new players. They deserve to
Can't
be
leave
in.
them out.
You cannot leave
No,
them out. That's just not right.
No.
Does that mean they're as good as the SEC teams? No, it does not mean that at all. But it's just the way things are done. I mean, you can rename it to the SEC Invitational, which is what's going to happen eventually anyway.
Brian Kelly packing his bags, right? Who's going to be the coach of LSU next
He
year?
ain't going.
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly.
He ain't going.
His
nowhere.
buyout's $90 million.
He's going nowhere.
And it was the first year it's straight. No, they're not paying him $90 million.
He's not going anywhere for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
One, the buyout is the numero uno. Number 2 is, I think within 1 loss or 2 losses, his record through 3 seasons is almost identical to Nick Saban's record at LSU through 3 seasons.
Really?
The only difference is you don't see. Look, he was basically cussing out one of his star receivers on the sideline and told him he was uncoachable. To get the F out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem he's going to run into there is that people see, again, we are in we're in a world where the inmates own the keys to the jail. Okay, so if you get all these kids coming in and going, that's how this guy's going to treat us. And by the way, they don't really like him down there anyway. You know, him and his fake accent to begin with.
Yeah.
I don't think he was a popular hire down there. I think they'd rather bring back Coach O, to be honest with you, than to do that. He's already not real popular. He's going to start losing recruits. I mean, he's got the number 1 rated quarterback in the country next year, and Michigan's already put on a $10 million NIL deal out in front of him if he'll flip his commitment. So you think about a kid who's 18, I got $10 million on my table, and I got a coach who's an asshole. Maybe I ought to rescind on this. So is he there next year? He's there next year, but the Bayou Bengals are not going to put up with 3-4 years of that. They will do it.
He nailed it. The inmates run the asylum thing. The coaches used to have the power by waving the scholarship in front of you.
Yes.
They don't have it anymore. Now the players dictate the terms, and they're not going to play for a guy like Brian Kelly. And you know, Nick Saban, I take him for his word that he wants to develop players. He don't like the way the game's going. He knows that he was going to lose in this system. People weren't going to put up with this shit. Mm-hmm. They weren't going to do it. They want to go have fun.
Well, that the fact of, you know, he didn't have the advantages of the suitcases being dropped in the alleys anymore. They could do it out in public.
Now it's legal,
and
right.
Put it all on TV. Go, hey, we're paying him to come here and play.
Yeah, I mean,
so there was a lot of disadvantages, but I think you're right. His coaching style. Look, we can go through basketball. All these hard-nosed disciplinarians, they're going by the wayside because they go, we can't control these kids. I mean, Steve Spurrier finally came out and said he walked away because they wouldn't listen to him anymore. Basically, because he would get up in their grill and they're like, screw you, we don't care. Yeah. And he's like, I can't coach these kids anymore. So again, you're going to see, you know, Kelly's one of those as well. You're going to continue to see this start to phase out. Why is Indiana's coach so popular? He reminds me a lot of this Florida coach once upon a time that won a couple national championships down there. He kind of buddies up with them. He coaches them hard, but he's not that huge disciplinarian. I'm going to drop the hammer. He reminds me very much of Urban Meyer. He really does.
But can he do that more than one season?
Who's that?
The Indiana coach.
Well, he got another 8-year contract at $8 million.
But I mean, are you still going to have the same players responding to you in the same way, or does it end up?
Well, his smart move.
Mountain Mama
His smart move. And I think you said this a couple weeks ago. Was he brought like what 13 or 14 JMU?
He brought some of his best JMU kids.
And they established. This is the culture. We run the show, and that's how you they can keep that culture there.
Well,
but you know the contract extension he got that never.
The biggest thing he's already done is he's gone to the administration and said, if you want this to continue and you want me to stay, you better start throwing money around the way you've been throwing it around for basketball. That's the only way they stay. Yeah. Because that's just the reality of it.
That and like there's something to be said about a coach that cares for the like buddies up with them is what you said, right?
Yeah.
The ability to buddy up with them, love those kids, care about them, make it a home away from home while they're in college. But then again, these guys are going to be making a ton of money. They've got these NIL deals. There's so much more to college football right now, and that's why they extended or that's why they wrote that letter about Billy Napier is just to say that and. He knows that we're in an environment in college football where everything's changing right now for the last 3 years, right? You have the NIL, you have the portal, which is like, and you're going into a season coming up where you're going to have rosters that are going from 125 players down to what, 100,
no,
105?
Unlimited
120 to, no, it's 105.
It's unlimited right now. The rosters are unlimited. It's
that's
going
right.
Down to 105.
105 players, and that's it. You're going to have 2,000-3,000 people looking for a job next season at another school. That's going to affect not only the FBS, but it's going to go all the way down to the bottom of the rung.
You're going to have some of these mid-majors, Marshall, App State. They're going to get some talent.
They're going to get a lot of talent.
Oh yeah.
Can they wrangle the right talent? Is what it's going to be a matter to.
And it'll be a loaner for a year.
Yeah, but it's a totally different environment. Do you want to have a new coach going into that environment next year? Hell no. You want someone that is going to run the program and do a good job and set the boundaries that you need.
Well, that and let's be honest. I mean, because for the naysayers of Napier, he's like a terrible wife. It's cheaper to keep her.
To keep her?
I mean, right now for them, it's cheaper for them to keep him than to actually now and again start over anew in a new environment. And again, I've always said Billy Napier's a good coach. He's a good coach. He was left in a kind of a not great situation, and they're allowing him to work through it. So kudos to Florida for doing that.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, Lagway, that's his guy. That's going to make a big difference going forward.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think you asked about the wrong coach. I think you should have been asking about Lincoln Riley.
Well, you're the expert on that, and I'm watching him.
Did you see what happened?
Tell me more.
Well, the NCAA decided to give USC a lovely little fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was because he was using people who were not on the staff to advise the team. Mm-hmm. And so that's illegal. It's also an infringement on his contract. And he's not a winning coach right now. He's been there, 5 seasons?
It's been that long.
No, it's
Yep.
3 seasons. This is his third season.
4 seasons. No, this is his 4th, isn't it?
No, it's not his fourth. It's his third season.
Okay.
Because
But they can get out of that contract without paying him a penny.
And his buyout's big too, right?
His buyout is huge, but because of this infraction, they can actually walk away and not pay him a penny.
USC. That's a tough place to coach, man. There's a lot going on out there.
Yeah, and it's not good. It's not big college football type environment
it's
either.
not.
yeah, and you're a multi-millionaire star quarterback living in LA. Imagine the parties you're going to the entire offseason,
Yeah, it's-
and on
I think the
Friday night
parties are
before those home
Elysium
College
games.
football is a complete afterthought out there.
Well, it's a
Really.
crappy
sending
stadium,
shots.
too.
It's an afterthought.
They need to give them a new stadium. There's so many things that are wrong with that
But
system.
I forgot about Lincoln Riley. I forgot about him.
Yeah, and it just came out in the last, 24 hours.
Not to sidetrack, but what about your boy in Nebraska? How much longer are they going to give that guy? He's got
2 years.
Yeah,
This is
so
year 3, right?
So he's 5-5. No, this is his second season.
Okay.
So he's 5-5 right now. One
Not been
more,
good.
huh?
Not been good.
Yeah, but one more game. They play Wisconsin this week, and then they're playing Iowa the following week. They should win one of those games, and that'll be the first time that Nebraska's been to a bowl game since 2014 or something.
First goal is make a bowl. If he makes a bowl, check
if he
the
makes
box.
a bowl, check the box.
Go
They
on.
sell out that stadium every single week, no matter what. Everyone's behind them.
But
in
I know that
program.
fan base is they still like to live in the mid '90s when they were winning national championships.
But they're way more realistic in some way. Like
they?
they kept Scott Frost around for 6 seasons, something like that.
No, I don't think it was that long, was it? I mean, I hear what you're saying.
They were very patient with him because he played there.
Yeah, he was the best quarterback they had.
Did he win a Heisman there?
No,
No, he
the,
didn't
other,
win
the,
the
other,
Heisman.
the other one did.
Yeah, the one that was
Tommy Frazier.
2005. Tommy Frazier.
No, Eric Crouch.
All right,
That's what I'm
Crouch.
thinking
Okay.
Yeah.
Tommy Frazier did not win the
They were
Heisman?
they were both
Okay.
white and both wore number 7.
Okay.
Crouch and Frost.
That's right. Then Scott Frost
No, he
Scott Frost was the next season after that.
No,
So
Frazier didn't win it.
anyway,
Tommy Frazier did stiff arm some Gators.
yeah,
Frazier
yeah.
didn't win it because Warfel won it, if I'm not mistaken.
right.
No,
Warfel did,
Warfel
that's right.
won it the following season. That he won.
96.
Warfel won it the season that they won the national championship when they played Florida State in the national
Yeah,
championship.
the
He won
years-
95.
95 was Rashawn's. No, 95 was Eddie George.
Hey, George, so 96.
It's either Eddie George or Rashawn Salam. I get those two mixed up. It's
Wow,
94
Eddie
and 5.
George.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
We went down a rabbit hole.
I know we sure did. But you know what? Sometimes we go down rabbit holes because we're just trying to be smarter than 5-year-olds, you know? And we're not even trying to be smarter than 5. We're trying to be smarter than 4-year-olds. And sometimes it's hard to be as smart as a 4-year-old when they're picking college football games. If Landon the Legend was around back in 1994, 1995, he would still be beating half of us, right?
Absolutely.
Probably more than half of us. So every week we do this. We're going to let a 4-year-old pick his games for the upcoming week first. Landon the Legend has 7 games, and let's hear what his choices are for the week, and then we'll talk about our choices. All right?
Florida, Ohio State, Kansas, Arizona State, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Texas. Why am I not picking Tennessee's game?
That's your legendary picks right there. So let's hear our legendary pick, our non-legendary picks. Cheeks, do we have a winner? Right? Do we have someone that's winning right now? That's taking over in our picks for the year.
Yes, we do have a winner that we will not be able to touch.
Who's that?
Chief, ain't it?
That would be Chief.
Is Chief on fire? Huh?
He's on fire. He was 7 for 7 last week.
So he. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And that just cemented his.
Well, what we could
us
do
having
is
to pay him in water.
we could go ahead. Oh yeah, we got to buy him water.
We have to buy him lots of water.
We all might end up owing him with water, yeah. So let's go ahead and get into our picks, shall we? Because Chief is not here, so maybe we'll just disregard his picks this week and get ourselves up a little bit, shall we?
Oh, yeah.
I know, Chief. You should have been here today, Chief. All right, so we got
Oh, boy.
7 games we're going to talk about. Let's start off with Kentucky. We'll start off with number 9, Ole Miss is going to the Swamp, where LSU got beat last week. DJ Lagway's healthy. But you know what? Ole Miss has probably one of the best quarterbacks in the country, right? You give me a
very
eye roll
quietly
on that,
done
man.
that this year, too.
Yeah, very quietly, but you know what? Jackson Dart?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the dude plays some good football. Relatively consistent. I think he's had one game that I feel like he's been off on. I'm hoping that he's off 2 games, and that'll be the game that's coming up on Saturday. Hopefully that humid air in Gainesville gets him. But you know what? There's just as bad a humid air in Mississippi, I'm
yeah.
sure, right? Yeah. So
It's just
let's go
smelling
ahead,
bad.
Cheeks. Ole Miss or Florida? You gonna be on my side on this, or are you gonna go against me and never get to come back to the show again? I'm kidding.
I just
I'm
want to
kidding.
start by saying thank you for not having South Carolina in the mix this week.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because I keep
we already
picking
know they're going to be
against
Wofford.
them so
Yes,
that
Wofford.
we win.
Wofford.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, so who's
So-
it going to be? Ole Miss or Florida?
I went with Ole Miss.
That's fine. So
I also have Roosters picks too.
okay, who did he say? Tell
Ole
me.
Miss.
He said Ole Miss also. Okay. Man, everyone's going to be going against me on this one. Who do you got there, Rebel?
In a tight one, because Florida is, I feel like, starting to figure it out a little bit. But Ole Miss is playing as well as anybody right now. Ole Miss wins a game in a good ball game.
Ooh, yes, stick to my heart. All right, you're going to have to buy your own bourbon next week. Don't worry. All right, who do you got there, Chopper? You're always an optimist for the underdog, aren't you?
I am. However, Ole
Man.
Miss is going to finish the season out
Yeah,
strong
you're a
and is
closet
making
Ole
the playoffs.
I forgot you're a closet
Yeah.
Ole Miss
I
fan
picked
as
Ole
well.
Miss to win the national championship, man. I
That's
can't
true.
have them
Okay.
losing to Florida.
They got to win, yeah.
Not losing to Florida. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, who do you got? Mountain Jama Jamma?
Man, everything in me wants to take Florida.
Thank you.
Everything, but I'm taking Ole Miss.
Oh, jeez. All
I
right.
mean, I really, it's one of those games where I look at it and think, man, Florida could win this game.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna pick Ole Miss.
You know what? So there's one kid that always went against his team for the first time. Actually, I think it's the second time. And Georgia ended up winning. Landon Legend went against his team last week. But you know what? I'm not following Landon Legend's lead. I'm going for Florida in this one, okay?
Imagine that.
Yes, because I never, Landon, listen closely. I never, ever go against my team.
The spread is Ole Miss minus
Ever!
2.5.
Never go against my team. Ever.
The play in this game is the over-under is 55.5. Take the over.
You think?
Yes.
All right, number 5, Indiana. No, we're going to save that one for last, shall we?
Ooh.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump over to number 16, Colorado at Kansas. We talked about it. Kansas is playing good football right now. Do they have the chops to stop that Colorado defense? Or excuse me, Colorado offense. Sorry. Do they have the chops to run through the Colorado defense? I guess we shall see. But let's go ahead and get some picks on that, shall we? What do you got there, Rebel? Colorado or Kansas?
Haven't been tested. I like the hot hand. Rock, chalk, Jayhawk.
Oh! Put me down for the Jayhawks as well, Cheeks.
Wow.
Who do you got, Cheeks?
Same thing. I'd like to see Dion be embarrassed.
Okay.
Well, I don't. God.
And I see Rooster has Colorado.
He
huh?
did.
He's going with a safe
did.
bet.
No,
But I know another guy that likes to cheer for the underdog. Who do you got?
Neutral site, right? Arrowhead? Yeah, Buffaloes.
Buffalo. Ooh, the Buff's going to take
The
on.
Buffs.
All right. And
Right.
Mountain Jamma Jama Juma Mama Mama.
Because
Who do you
Holy
got?
crap, that's the longest name we've had so far.
because I want them to lose. They do this every week. I want Colorado to lose, but they're gonna win, so I'm picking Colorado. And by the way, that game being at Arrowhead, I bet there's just as many Colorado fans or these new Colorado fans than there are Kansas fans there.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of Kansas City bandwagon jumpers.
Yeah, a lot of Dion fans.
That's
there.
right. That's right.
All right. So earlier in the show, you said that Arizona State is still in the mix for the Big 12.
They are.
And you know what? If they beat BYU this week, then they're definitely in the mix for the Big 12 championship game. Arizona State, number 21, is hosting number 14, BYU. I don't think it's that hot out there in the desert right now.
It isn't.
It's not.
My daughter lives right next to
And
it.
BYU is a pretty dry area as well. You know, like no one's
It'll
been
be a high
gasping
of
for,
about 72 probably.
yeah, no one's been gasping for air. I think that Arizona State. I think that BYU is playing some crappy ball right now. Arizona State seems like they've been playing some good football. So you're going to put me down for Arizona State on this one,
Okay.
Sheiks. Who do you got, Sheiks?
I have BYU.
You got BYU.
I do.
Is this an emotional thing or is this like
No, Arizona would be my emotional pick.
okay?
That's why I picked BYU.
You're going against your emotions on this
Yes.
one. All right, who do you got there, Rebel?
Arizona State has been so starved for good football again. They thought Herm Edwards was going to bring it to them. He didn't, and right now they
Jake
are
the
at the
Snake.
level of Jake the Snake Plummer. They are on the up and up. BYU has kind of lost their way. The Sun Devils get it done as they have an opportunity to play for a conference championship since Jake the Snake Plummer.
That's right.
Woo! All right, you got. Are you putting Arizona State too as well, Choppa?
Yeah.
All right,
Wow.
man. Everyone's
Devils.
going against me. BYU is on the downtrend. Do you feel that, or you think they're
No,
going
I'm
to
taking. I'm taking the Sun Devils.
Oh
Absolutely.
wow!
Wow.
Yeah, they got.
All right.
By the way, they got a fun. You're talking about a coach that likes to chum up with his players and talk a lot of shit in the media. That coach out there at Arizona State's that guy.
So I should watch his press
Yes,
conferences.
watch his press conference. He
What
is,
do you got that did jumped up to do a chest bump? His player went flying over the bench at the Gatorade. I mean, he's
Oh, really?
a lunatic.
Yeah, he made a. I can't remember exactly what the comment was. I guess something about something about the kids for paying fines. He said instead of paying the fine, let them pay it to the collective so we can buy more players or something like that in his press conference. I mean, this guy's entertaining. He's young too. Very young.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so you know what? So a few weeks ago,
Wait.
Army went into
Not so fast. You forgot Rooster.
Who's the Rooster guy?
He's got BYU.
All right, BYU. Okay, safe choice, I guess.
And I
don't
used
know.
his words.
Yeah, all right. So a few weeks ago, Navy played Notre Dame, who has a very similar offensive strategy to Army, right? And they're going to be playing Notre Dame as well this week. Number 18 Army, undefeated Army, playing at number 6 Notre Dame, who is home team. It's pretty hard to play there, I bet, in Notre Dame.
Problem is, it makes me puke. I don't want to say this. I think for the first time in a long time, I think Notre Dame's legit. Like they had the hiccup against Northern Illinois, and they have sorted it out. And I mean, they usually find a way to lose games. I think they found a good coach that, again, knows how to relate to his players. They want to play for him. He knows how to get them up. To see what they did. I picked Navy to win that game, and I want to say they forced 3 fumbles in the first half, and Navy hadn't fumbled the ball all year. What's the difference with Notre Dame over years past? Their defense is not too shabby this year. I think Notre Dame blows them out.
Yeah, that game against Northern Illinois was a fluke. It happens.
Very much.
It was a way for that team to say, you know what? Let's frickin' take this crap seriously. Let's play some football. They've been playing some good football ever since. Marcus Freeman, I think I said this a couple weeks ago. I think that he's not going to be coaching there next year if there's any of these bigger programs that'll not bigger,
bigger than Notre Dame, man.
not bigger. Sorry, but he's only making I think he's making a lot less than most other coaches that are coaching at that level.
If he gets to the Final Four this year, the playoffs, he could lose in the Final Four. He will get some big extension, just like what's his name, Canetti. I always say it wrong. Up in Indiana, he'll get Cincinnati. He'll get the same type contract from them because again. Notre Dame just has not been the national power. I mean, when they went to the last time they went to play for the national championship, they got crushed. Yeah. So he's making them relevant again.
Okay. So Notre Dame, you got them. I got Notre Dame as well.
Irish.
You're saying go Fighting Irish, huh?
Go Fighting Irish.
Say it loud.
Go Fighting Irish.
All right. Who do you got?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. And Cheeks.
Well, that must have been easy. Both the Rooster and I have Notre Dame.
Well, that was easy enough. I don't even. Yeah. I put that on there because it's Army and they are undefeated. And
they're good.
But if they pull this off, oh boy.
Okay.
This playoff bracket is real interesting.
If Army does beat Notre Dame, they move into the top 12. Do they jump Boise State? Because Boise State has 1 loss.
I think
Army has 0
losses.
losses.
One of them gets in that large bid, and one of them gets the group of 5 bid.
For sure,
the only thing that's scary here, I mean, if they beat Notre Dame, buddy, they got to play Tulane. It's already set. They're playing Tulane in the AAC championship.
Tulane's on fire.
They ain't no joke.
No. Yeah. They throw the ball around a little bit.
I mean, dude, Tulane is one that we might be talking about in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Tulane's always a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're legitimate. Okay, so I said I was not going to say legit anymore. That was my goal. A couple of weeks ago, I kept saying legit. Kept saying legit. Yeah,
to quit.
You're too legit to quit.
Totally, man. Totally. Number 15, Texas A&M at number not ranked Auburn. We'll go with that. I thought that this is one of those games where I know they're not ranked. Chopper, they're not ranked.
No,
I don't care.
But
Dude,
listen. Auburn is a pretty good team. They just have some challenges across the board. But this is
special teams, defense, offense, that stuff.
That's like going on a blind date and saying she's got a lot of personality.
All right. So can we go around the table and say Texas A&M wins this game then?
Not so
say
fast,
aye.
my friend.
Raise your hand and say aye if you're going to say Texas A&M.
I want to hear what he has to say.
He might convince you?
He might convince me.
This
Chopper,
game
what do you got?
Is a complete no-brainer.
Okay, go for it, man.
Auburn
it's
is
at Auburn.
coming off a huge win against Louisiana Monroe.
Huge win.
And it's a night game in Jordan-Hare. And, nothing but good things happen. I'm telling you, we get it back this weekend.
Kick six.
No,
2.0.
No, don't get crazy. Nothing crazy like that.
Okay.
But it's going to be just a solid performance. Finally.
You've been waiting all season
for it.
So you're putting Auburn down.
Complete no-brainer.
Never go against your team, man.
Yeah, complete no-brainer.
Texas A&M is only a 2.5-point favorite.
I know.
Which means they're not favored.
And because they're playing at Auburn, here's the thing. I think A&M wins a dogfight. It goes down to the last possession because they've got their eye on a bigger prize the following week, and I think that's going to get in their way, may cost them the loss. But I'm going to say A&M squeaks out a tough-fought win at Auburn, and then has their date with destiny with Texas.
I think Texas A&M is looking ahead, man.
What does Auburn have to lose?
Nada.
Nothing.
Exactly.
These last 2 games, you're going to see some.
Texas A&M goes to Jordan
Nothing to
Hare,
lose, nothing to
and they get beat by the Auburn Tigers. Mark my word. Today on what is it? 11/19/2024. Okay,
Wait, so you picked Auburn?
I'm picking Auburn.
So I'm sitting here looking at
Put me down for Auburn. I never go against my friends.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here looking at the new bracket, and I
Uh-huh.
don't see A&M in there anywhere, and that's going to piss them off. They're going to kill Auburn.
Who's the top?
No.
Who's the top? Who's the top 4?
The bye. Not I don't look at that stupid ranking bullshit. The bracket.
All
The
right.
4 buys right now are Oregon, Miami, Texas, and Boise State.
I mean, nobody
Okay.
comes in our stadium.
Boise State.
Boys, they got that.
Because
They'll be ranked higher than a conference
they're
champion.
ranked higher than the BYU is ranked number 12.
Is
Right?
Tennessee in there? Nope. They're not in
No,
there.
Tennessee's not in there.
Tennessee and
Yeah, so
A&M are
Boise
not.
or whoever the group of 5 is ranked higher than a
Ole Miss,
conference champion,
Alabama,
they
Georgia
get it
Tech.
instead.
Yeah. All right. One conversation going at a time, folks. All right. Texas number 3, looking ahead to Texas A&M. Hopefully not, because if they lose to Kentucky this week in Austin, by the way, does anyone think that Kentucky can stand a chance against those Longhorns, or are the Longhorns going to stick that Longhorn
Whoa,
right
whoa,
in the,
whoa, 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 whoa!
right in
Ain't
the
that kind of
stomach
party.
of that Wildcat? Stick that. All right,
Time for
I
shots.
will edit that out of the show.
No, leave it. It makes it great.
All right. So Texas, who do you got there? Chopper. Texas or Kentucky?
Hook 'em
man?
horns, man.
Hook 'em horns. All right, you got hook 'em horns as well there over there, Mr. Mama Jama Jama.
Yeah, Texas.
Mama.
Texas,
All right. And who do you got? Rebel.
The Longhorns.
Longhorns. I got the Longhorns as well. I watched them kick the crap out of my Gators, and the Gators kicked the crap out of Kentucky.
Texas struggled with Arkansas, just so we're clear. But
They did, but yeah, it was in Arkansas, right?
Rooster and I both picked Texas.
Texas, all right. And then the biggest game of the week. I was talking to my boy Kipster about that, who used to be on the show, by the way.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
Happy
Kip,
birthday.
to you. All right.
happy-
Oh, we said biggest game. You said, wait, we've already talked about
Biggest
Ohio State.
game of the week. A happy birthday surprise for Kip when Indiana beats Ohio State. That would be a sad day for him, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? Indiana's playing good football, but they do have. This is the first time they played somebody that's actually worth a crap, right?
The stage is too big.
The stage is too big.
They haven't played
going to
anybody.
they're going to the shoe.
They're not playing anybody that is a legit team this year. They're going to the Horseshoe, which is a tough place to play and win. And I'm sorry, Ohio State has way more talent. I think Ohio State shows just how bad of a schedule they've played this year, meaning Indiana. I think Ohio State blows them out.
Blows them out.
I think, let me see what the spread is on some of that, but I got Ohio State blowing them
21
flat
and a
out.
half, 21 and a half, I think.
Wow.
That's what I'm
okay.
saying.
I think so.
So they are really thinking that Ohio State's going to destroy these
No,
guys.
13 and a
huh?
half.
I'm sorry,
13 and a half? That's still pretty big.
That's still almost 2 touchdowns. That's a lot of points when you're
Yeah.
ranked 5 versus 2.
Put me down for Ohio State, cheeks.
right,
I would never go
gotcha.
against my boy Kip. And obviously Ohio State's a better team. So, and they beat Penn State. So, I mean, this is just another ranked team that they're going to beat. They lost to Oregon. They'll probably play them in the Big Ten championship. And I think Ohio State will
I mean,
win
the
that game
only
as well.
thing Ohio State has to worry about is overlooking for the fact they're going to they're going to beat the brakes off Michigan this year, and just a lot of retribution for the last 4 years now.
Yeah.
So that's just the only thing that could potentially get in the way is themselves. If Ohio State loses this game, they beat themselves. Let's put it like that.
Yeah,
If Ohio State loses this game, are they out of the playoff?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's no getting back in. for them.
No.
No, because you already had a loss.
The 2 ranked teams that you've played, you lost to.
Yeah, well, I
and
guess
then you beat Penn State.
And that would be fair because the way they've shit on Indiana, if you lose to that team, then you should not be in. Right?
Yeah.
I want to digress back. You let Indiana beat them. Ryan Day is a coach that's gone.
Gone.
Pack your bag and get it gone.
He can't win the big games. That's what they've been saying.
And now the big game is Indiana. He gone.
I'm taking Ohio State.
Ohio State.
We all
Chopper,
take
you
Ohio
got Ohio State?
Oh, hi.
And Cheeks.
Rooster took Indiana.
And so did I.
Really? All right.
Can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine if that happens though? Oh my god!
Oh, my God.
$20 million.
I need it so I don't have to pay for Chiefs water.
Yeah. All right, so
So she's playing. She's throwing for the Hail Marys, just trying to win.
You're
to catch
exactly
up.
right.
There's strategery going on
that's an
here.
expensive water for
She
Cheeks.
has the analytics.
I'm telling you, that's an
I'm
expensive
getting
water.
him the Avion.
Oh, yeah. I'm going strictly with Publix brand water.
Good idea.
That's
Get
what
Walmart.
I
They're
know.
cheaper.
Dollar General.
Dollars. Okay, there you
How about
go.
the garden hose? I like the garden hose myself.
Yeah, I'll just spray it in his direction.
Yeah, tap water.
Exactly. All right. So the question I always ask at the end of the game, at the end of this show, is
Terrible.
what the fuck?
I forgot about that.
What the fuck? So I am going to say my what the fuck first because I haven't had a what the fuck in a couple weeks. But
Dropping the ball, man.
65 million of us watched it. 90 to 100 million. Probably
Lord.
probably
Honestly, I didn't.
I didn't either.
7 to 8 billion of us were disappointed after disappointed in what happened, right?
Were you really disappointed?
I was disappointed. Everybody that watched the fight was disappointed in the fight. Let's just say that. And everybody that heard about the fight was like, yeah, that's why I didn't watch the fight. So, I was playing poker with some buddies that night, and we were watching it, and we watched the first 2 rounds, and by the 3rd round, we're sitting there, we're like, yeah, we're just gonna go back and play poker because there was no reason to watch it. You knew it from the beginning. It was worth the crap. Sorry, Tyson. I respect you to the T, but man,
the problem with that is real quick.
Yeah.
Is now Jake Paul likes making all his money off these gimmicky fights. It's done. I saw a video today that just wrecked him. Basically, he's sitting there. Tyson jabs with his left. He brings both gloves over to defend it. Tyson goes to come across the right cross. He throws it and pulls it back to his chest because his chin was fully exposed. You saw him do this and not hit him, which tells me the whole thing. And not that it's when we're going to go out there and spar. This thing was staged. There ain't no doubt in my mind this thing was staged.
We're all suckers.
So I feel like it was like, hey, let's just go 8 rounds. Make sure we go 8 rounds because you knew that Tyson wouldn't last past a round or 2 anyway.
I don't think he didn't go in and win a fight. That's what I'm saying. He had the opportunity on this one video to knock his head clean off. And he pulled the punch back to his chest.
There's a few videos where there was clean shots of the face,
and he just don't take them.
Never took them.
Oh, really?
They just don't say. I'll see if I
That's
find
not the
one.
only one. There's 2 or 3 more.
So what the fuck, Jake Paul?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So
money. That's what fuck.
No, it comes down to it. Like the dude makes a lot of money. I don't know if any of you have watched his Netflix documentary show that they did about him, but it's pretty interesting to see. He's in it for the money. Like obviously, it's clearly it's all about money.
There's enough dumb people to give it to him.
Yeah, he's not that big of a douchebag when when you hear his interviews. They're like in this particular setting, like he's doing these interviews. He's like, yeah, man. I mean, it's just a freaking act. You know, like the goal is to get everyone to hate me because it fucking sells tickets.
I will give him credit. There's 2 women. I guess the best fight was the
2 girls. He
got them what, $5 or $6 million apiece, which is the largest pay.
Headbutting each other.
And that's the fight I was wanting to watch, and the freaking buffering would not stop. So I was
But I think his goal is to. I mean, he looks at it the same way that they used to look at it back in the '80s with Don King. Like they talk about this in the documentary. Like it's the hype.
Yeah,
you hype up these little matches. You get tons of watchers, but then you get the little guys that can make some money off of it as well. And he actually mentions that in that documentary as well, is to help to bring up the sport. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and who else has a what the fuck? I got plenty of conversations on what the fuck. What do you got?
So I mentioned this earlier, and sorry for not having the kid's name. I mentioned this about the quarterback, number 1 ranked quarterback who's committed to LSU, that Michigan has hung a $10 million pay to play price tag out there for him. And guys, at this point, it ain't NIL, it's pay to play. There's guys who said it's the Wild West. In the NFL, that's called tampering. You can't go, hey, Joe Burrow, this is Jerry Jones, I'll throw you $700 million if you'll come down here. You can't do that. College football is worse than the Wild West right now. I mean, I hate the state of it, but within a few years, you're going to see, with the new 2-year deal, you're going to see collective bargaining. You're going to see agents for players. You're going to have to because, again, NIL turned into pay to play, and that technically is illegal still by rules, and nobody's enforcing it at this point. Is the pay to play. So the what the fuck is just open belligerent tampering in NCAA football right now.
What the fuck?
What the
tampering bull crap. Cheeks, you got a what the fuck over there.
I
You
do.
always have 1 or 2. Sometimes she has 3 what the fucks.
I have picture. I reused my 1, which was Lincoln Riley. So I've got number 2. So anybody know the worst ref in all of NFL?
It's a dude who called that Chiefs Bengals game. I can tell you right now.
He's clearly placing bets, right?
Well,
Brad Allen.
Brad Allen. Tell me more.
And he was
You're
demoted
gonna
at
get fined, by the way, for this. I know. So
you can't find someone who's got nothing. Good luck. So he was demoted. He and his team were demoted at the end of the season last year because of all the bad calls that they made.
Wow.
Well, when the Chargers and the Bengals were playing each other, he proceeded to make 3 really bad calls within a 24-second period. And
or lack of calls.
Yeah, well, that more or bad call. Yeah. So I won't give you all of them, but the finale on it was a defensive pass interference on the Bengals, and they were all these did not behoove the Bengals. They all behooved Chargers, so I guess they have a bigger purse. Anyway, the last one was Newton was called for pass interference, and his reasoning was because he never turned around to look at the ball. And on the big screen, they replayed it, and he had his head turned for like 5 seconds looking for that ball.
Yep.
The only person that didn't see that, Brad Allen.
These damn refs, man. I'm
We have
telling
a
you.
referee problem.
Well, let's fix it. How do
You
we
think?
fix it?
It's all going to go AI.
Remember when we signed up to be refs?
So Chopper and I, it would be Hanger and Chopper referees. Hanger and Chopper going to referee school. We would have changed things, but they would not accept us because we're way too fucking cool. That's what it came.
That
down
was
to.
it.
It happens.
I'm
It happens,
sure.
people. It
Yes. So
happens. Sorry.
that being said, does anyone else have a what the fuck?
What about the Purdue field when they were playing?
What the
Penn
fuck?
State?
I don't
Did
even
you see
know.
how the
Oh my
end
God.
zone?
Did you see
So the
that?
end zone, the outside of the end zone was painted the same color as the actual end zone.
Oh, yes, he was out of bounds. He
Can't
caught the
tell.
ball.
He thought he was in
He's
bounds.
catching the ball. He thought he was in bounds, and he's out of bounds because there's nothing separating.
The end zone's black.
Same thing.
And,
same
and the
color.
boundary of the outside
Yeah.
was black.
Yeah.
And the only thing you knew was a pylon.
And,
Yeah.
and there's a pylon. Apparently, there's a pylon on the outside too. So
Yeah.
I've noticed over
Wow.
the years teams have
The whole
painted.
stadium.
They've kept a green stripe around the outsides of their end zones.
Yeah.
Used to be they fill them all the way in. Now they're starting to, because I think people get confused. You look at the picture.
He was wide open, and he's 3 feet out of bounds. He catches it and goes,
The Penn shit. The Penn State defensive player was like this.
He's outside of the pylon, you know. And I'm
I
like,
mean, I can see where he made the mistake. I really can.
Very
I mean,
easy. Very easy.
Yeah.
That's like back in the
What the
early
fuck?
1910s. They used to do pictures of like footballs all over the shirts and stuff, so that people would think that you got the ball, even though you don't. You know, like let's try to confuse people. That's a modern version of that. Do you have a what the fuck?
I do not.
All right, so then
Ooh,
my what
this
the
man.
fuck is this. Why don't you have a what the fuck, bro?
yeah, what the fuck, man?
What the fuck?
What the
What
fuck?
the fuck?
What the
man?
fuck?
It was.
Fuck,
It was a
man.
good week.
All right.
Mamma, jamma, hammer. Your what the fuck should have been Baylor. That should be yours.
Yep.
Baylor, what
I
happened?
don't want to. I don't want to talk.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this show up, shall we? Hey, thank you all for listening to the show, and keep on coming back to listen to more guys at the bar talking sports. See you.
Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us.